So as of this month, about a week ago, EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2 just turned 2 years old. Now last year around this time, I did a 1-year review. And this year, instead of doing a second-year review, I figured I would compare this game to the original Battlefront 2 from back in 2005. In this video, I'm going to focus on everything that the 2005 version has still done better than the current version of Battlefront 2 made by EA. So this is just my personal opinion. Battlefront 2, the original, was my favorite Star Wars game of all time, so I may be a little bit biased, but these are all the things that I felt that the original Battlefront 2 just got right. And then if you guys enjoyed this video, I'll do a reversed version where I'll go over everything that EA's Battlefront 2 did better than the original. But to start us off, it's going to be very straightforward, straight to the point. It's as soon as you load up the game, Battlefront 2 from 2005 has a better main menu screen. As simple as that is, you wouldn't think it would be much to have an impressive main menu screen, but Battlefront 2, made by EA, is just the dullest, boringest, just ugly, plain menu I've probably seen in a video game. Now, EA's version, it did have a different main menu where it looked out into outer space when the game launched, and it has since changed to like this chunk of a wall that you can find in Starkiller Base, and it just looks so boring. Now, EA's version does have the collection menu and stuff where you can at least browse your different heroes and look at your different outfits and all that different stuff. And there are different sections to the main menu, but the background of it just looks dull. Now, when you compare it to the 2005 version, it has just straight up hits you with music. It's got scenes from the Clone Wars. It's got just different explosions and just different stuff from the movies. And then it goes to the original trilogy and it just swaps back and forth and it shows you different scenes from the original trilogy. And it's just the entire time you're at the main menu, you're looking at some of the most epic moments from the films. And it's just got that nostalgia. It's playing that epic Star Wars music. But when it comes to main menus, I'll take the original Battlefront 2 2005 with the movie scenes over the dull, plain looking, just boring Starkiller Base background that EA's version has any day. And then next up, I think that the original Battlefront 2 had a better story mode, better campaign. Now, as simple and as bare bones as it is, it's just going over the 501st stuff. It's nothing too crazy. It's not that long, but it was memorable. Some of the missions just really stand out to me. Like my favorite mission was when you got to play as Anakin and you were turning to the dark side and you were attacking the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. That mission was amazing. It was just fun going from planet to planet, listening to the 501st journals. And then every mission would have its own objective. Like sometimes you would play like a version of Capture the Flag, or you'd have certain objects you'd have to blow up, or you'd have to get certain vehicles and use them. And as simple as it was, for the time, it was just a blast. And it still kind of holds up today. On occasion, I'll go back and I'll still play that campaign. Versus EA's Battlefront 2, it just wasn't very fun. The AI in EA's version were just dumb as rocks. The missions with Luke, it was a wasted potential with Luke. You just go around cutting up bugs. That wasn't very fun. Iden switched teams after like 3 missions. I think the thing that pissed everybody off with EA's version was the just blatant false advertising. They advertised the game as you get to play as this elite squad that works for the Empire, basically like the Navy SEALs version for the Empire, and they just kept hitting you with it like Empire, 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 Empire. You get to play as the Empire. And I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the selling points for me because I thought it would be so awesome to play for the Empire. And then when you swap teams after like 3 missions and Iden's just like, the Empire I've worked for my entire life, suddenly they're bad and I want to be a rebel now. And then the rebels just accept her in instantly, like they don't care about her past. They don't care that just 2 or 3 missions ago she was like slaughtering all these rebels, and now they just welcome her in with open arms, and she actually has some say in their decisions, which is just bad writing. It's lazy writing. The best parts of Battlefront 2 EA's version story mode was just when you got to play as like the legacy characters like Han, Leia, Lando. Anything with Iden just wasn't very good. So when it comes to campaigns, I'm going with the 2005 version any day. And next up, I want to talk about all the different maps that the original original 2005 had. It had Bespin, Coruscant, Dagobah, Death Star, Endor, Felucia, Geonosis, Hoth, Jabba's Palace, Kamino, Kashyyyk, Mos Eisley, Mustafar, Megiddo, and the list goes on and on. It just feels like there's no limit to the amount of maps in the original Battlefront 2 versus EA's version. I mean, it's got some Naboo, it's got Yavin, it's got Hoth, it's got the major ones, but the original just gave you such a wide variety. Now, the maps aren't the biggest in size, especially for the time. Some of the maps are actually pretty small, but I at least respect the variety. Like, I still go back to 2005's Battlefront just to play on all the different maps. Sometimes I'll add every single map to the playlist and just play through all of them. And some of them are so memorable. Like Coruscant was the one a lot of people wanted in EA's version. Mustafar was the one that a lot of people wanted in EA's version. Like, there's still a lot of maps that are in this game never showed up to EA's version. And not only could you go through and pick all these planets, but all the planets had different modes to them that you could play in instant action. Like, you could play Capture the Flag, and then you could go into the options. This game has way better options to edit your instant action mode compared to EA's version. EA just recently added instant action, and there's hardly any options to change in it. In EA's version, you can change the amount of AI, you can change the amount of battle points that you get, and you can choose your maps, but it's limited to just the Clone Wars, and you have to play on capital supremacy maps. So EA's version of instant action isn't even in the same ballpark as the original 2005. 2005's version, you could change the amount of reinforcements you have. You could change your heroes and different settings for the heroes, like if you want it instantly, or you could turn them off, or you could add timers to the matches. Like, there's a million different options that you can do in the settings to give you your own unique experience tailored to whatever you want to do. And you can play on the original trilogy, and then you can also play on the prequel trilogy. And if it was out at the time, I guarantee you this game would have the Disney trilogy as well. So this game, for the 2005, at the game's launch, because it had DLC and it only added a couple maps and it added 2 more heroes, this game at base launch just has way better instant action and a way better map selection than EA's Battlefront 2 2 years after its release, with its constant free updates and its live service approach. So the next thing I thought that 2005 Battlefront 2 did better than EA's version is the Starship Mode. Now, EA's version has Starfighter Assault, and then 2005's version is just called Assault, which, I mean, you can basically just call it Starfighter Assault as well. But the Starfighter Assault in 2005 is way, way better than the Starfighter Assault in EA's version. And the reason is because it has that ship-to-ship combat that a lot of people wanted EA's version to have. This ship-to-ship combat was basically what everybody wanted capital supremacy to be. I know when I heard capital supremacy was coming out for EA's version of Battlefront 2, and there was like ship interiors and stuff, I pictured in my brain that it would be just like Battlefront 2005, because it's so cool to just get in your ship, fly around. You can space battle, or you could fly inside the enemy ship and try to sabotage it from the inside. You can have one-on-one, boots on the ground kind of fighting, or if you don't like that kind of fight style, you could just stay in a ship and you could just take out the ship from the outside the entire match. I used to play this with my little brother, and I'd play this with friends all the time, and this mode was just so good. Like, imagine if EA's version of Starfighter Assault let you go in and actually fly and land inside some of these ships. That would be so much more fun. And I honestly think more people would play Starfighter Assault, because the flying they nailed in EA's version of Battlefront 2, and it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, but if you could actually go and land inside the ships, I think EA's version of Starfighter Assault would be one of the more popular modes, but sadly, they just did not go with that approach. Next up on the list is Hunt Mode. EA Battlefront 2 has their version of Hunt Mode, which is just Ewok Hunt, and that is a complete wasted opportunity. I feel that if EA's version of Battlefront 2 wanted to do a hunt mode to pay tribute to 2005, they should have done more than just Ewoks. And I think that's why that mode is often as empty and dead as it is because people get tired of doing the same thing over and over and over and over of just Ewoks. Now, the Ewok Hunt mode was a good mode, but the repetitiveness of it, you didn't get anything unlocked, and it just wasn't as good as the 2005 mode. The 2005 mode, you could play as Gungans, you could play as Geonosians, you could play as Wampas, you could also play as Ewoks. Like, there was a variety of different things in Hunt Mode. It wasn't just tied to Ewoks. So I would have given EA Battlefront 2 the win here if they would have just had a variety. They have the maps, they have Hoth in the game, they have Geonosis in the game, they have Naboo in the game. So if EA Battlefront added Gungans, or added Wampas, or added Geonosians, and they had Geonosis at nighttime, and you're just like exploring the caves of Geonosis at nighttime with flashlights, and there's like Geonosians running around in the caves, that would be freaking cool. So there was a potential for EA's Battlefront 2, but they kind of just dropped the ball. They released Ewok Hunt, and then they gave Ewok Hunt a second map instead of adding a different variation of it. So the original Hunt mode also gets a victory in my book over EA's version of Battlefront 2. And then the final thing that I'm giving to the original Battlefront 2 over EA's version of Battlefront 2 is Galactic Conquest. Galactic Conquest is a fan favorite mode from the original 2005 Battlefront that never made its way into EA's version. And Galactic Conquest is basically set up like a giant game board. You pick your team, you can choose where you want to go on the giant galactic map, and you can choose to invade planets, and then you can also defend your planets. The more victories you get, the more points you get to spend, and you can unlock different units for your team. You can unlock different upgrades to give you advantages in battle. You can like spend your credits on extra heroes, you can spend your credits on extra health or extra ammo or more reinforcements, and it was a game of strategy. And this game mode was amazing to play with friends. Like, you can play it by yourself and it's still fun, but if you play it with a friend, or if you play split screen with somebody you know, like a sibling or whoever, it just makes the experience a million times more fun. And this mode had secret maps that weren't in the other modes. Let's say, for example, you go to Coruscant and the enemy team also goes to Coruscant. You'll have a space battle above Coruscant, which you can't even select through the instant action menu. So there were some maps that you could only play through Galactic Conquest. And I really wished EA's game would have had some sort of version of this mode, because they keep adding modes to the game. They've had a few failures. Jetpack Cargo, for example. Extraction is a dead mode. Strike is a dead mode. Starfighter Assault is a dead mode. Ewok Hunt is a dead mode. So if they would have just focused all their time and effort and maybe a Galactic Conquest instead of making all those other modes, I think EA's Battlefront 2 really could have done something really cool with that. And it's a pretty big missed opportunity. Those are all the major things that I think that Battlefront 2005 has done better than the current version of 2019 Battlefront 2 from EA. It's crazy how a game from 2005 that released at launch, I'm not even really including the DLC that came with 2005's version, but the base game of 2005 Battlefront still holds up against EA's Battlefront 2 that's been out for 2 years and has had a live service approach. Now, don't get me wrong, EA's version of Battlefront 2 has gotten a lot better since launch, but their crappy launch with their loot boxes and their controversies and their half of a year with no content and no communication really set back the game. And the fact that 2005 Battlefront can still keep up with 2019 Battlefront just really goes to show how good that original game actually was. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Which is your favorite of the two Battlefronts? And then, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you guys enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. That'll let me know that you do like it. And then if enough people thumb this up, I will make another version of this video probably tomorrow, where I go over everything that EA's version I think did better than the original 2005 version. But if you guys are new here, please hit that subscribe button. Be sure to check out another video. Follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Swanee Plays Games. Then you can follow me on Twitch at Swanee Plays Games Live. And that's going to do it for me, and I will talk to you all in the next video.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist